So
did you sense that you were, it was tougher for you?
Well, it was tougher for me, in particular, for people that knew me growing up. Everyone always looked at Kenny Del Vecchio, crazy maniac.
Tough kid, don't mess with him, strong, but never, geez, what a writer.
No, I don't think people looked at it that way. People always knew that I had straight A's, but the predominant idea about me was, how does that happen? You know, because you're crazy, and I don't think anybody would have took me that serious that I could have wrote a book like this and the future ones that are upcoming.
Know your abilities and be confident about them. What is that?
Well, I think that women really like men who are confident about themselves. I don't think they like guys that are weaselly, who are overly modest. I think they like a man who's confident about the things that he's good at, but yet he knows the things that he's not good at.
It's ridiculous, and we wonder why our society is.
Hey, Paul, did you ever sleep with a girl on a first date?
And we sit back and we say to ourselves, what are we doing?
Hey, did you ever sleep with a girl on a first date, Paul?
Huh?
Did you ever sleep with a girl on a first date? Ever? Come on, answer truthfully. Did you? You did?
Yeah.
So you're one of these guys then, huh?
But no.
Oh, she came on to you, right?
But listen.
You're a good-looking guy. She came on to you. That's what happened.
I really didn't have, somebody really telling me, hey, listen, respect them, do this. I mean, you know what?
Why didn't you tell yourself?
You should be turning around and saying, you know something to our youth of today. Don't sleep with them. Don't do that right away. Hold their hands. Write them a poem. Open the door for them.
I think what you're saying is, Paul,
I'm gonna tell you something.
Yeah.
Whatever you sow, you're going to reap. And if you sow this garbage, it's going to come right back on you. I'm telling you.
So did it come back on you?
All right, that's the rules for men. Now, you believe these things, but you did a movie with Jackie the Joke Man and Vincent Pastore and a bunch of other people.
The one attorney suggested that he be killed. The second attorney, who was a former U.S. attorney in the Southern District,
in the same office,
said to his partner, no, we can't kill him. He's too high profile. We're going to set him up on civil rights violations. 18 months before any of these things supposedly happened.
You are also a competitive weightlifter?
Yeah, I've gone into a few bench press competitions.
Have you done?
I've won.
Did you really?
Yeah.
At what weight class?
I would go in at a 165-pound weight class.
And how much do you press?
On decline bench, where the bench press slopes like that, I can do 450 pounds.
More than twice your own body weight?
It's about 3 times.
Yeah.
Woo. And flat bench press, which is where all the competition's in, I do about 385 pounds.
Which is, again, more than twice your body weight.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mess with you, Kenny.
Mr. Winthrop, I reviewed your arguments, and Ms. Templeton, I've listened to your arguments. And I have to tell you, Ms. Templeton, that the defense attorney, he makes a lot of sense. You make 0 sense. Why? This case is the classic example of the he said, she said. It's one person's word versus another's. And when you have one person's word versus another, that's per se reasonable doubt. First point, I'm happy with a Muslim woman, an Italian elf, a half Chinese, half Dutchman getting elected to Congress, so long as they have liberty-minded, small government, economy-boosting principles, which this Congresswoman from Michigan does not. And she also has her first claim to fame being that she's part of the identity politics clan. She's not qualified to be in office. That's a problem to me.
Into the legal strategies with attorney and Democrat Raj Goyle and Republican attorney Kenneth Del Vecchio of New Jersey. It's my opinion, Kenneth, the president shouldn't go near Bob Mueller for a few reasons. One, I don't trust Mueller. Two, the president has a big mouth, and he likes to talk, and he likes to talk a lot. And that's just not a good strategy when you're facing a possible indictment by someone doesn't seem to like you too much.
Absolutely, under no circumstances should he go and speak with special counsel. And there's nothing good that can come out of it. You don't go and talk with U.S. attorneys, with the Justice Department, unless you're dead in the water. And since Trump is innocent, he's only going to go there to get his words potentially twisted, to get some bogus obstruction or perjury charges filed against him. And you got to look at it first from the criminal law perspective. And as a criminal lawyer, I would advise him 100% not to go. Now, the political angle is secondary, and it's a deep second. But what are the political ramifications of this? So Mueller's going to do what? He's going to subpoena him in front of a grand jury, so he'll take the fifth. A couple days, fine. Anything further than that, no way. And yeah, this is unfair. Think about your son, your daughter, when you're thinking about the allegations against Judge Kavanaugh, because this is one person's word versus another's. And there is nothing more unfair for somebody to be charged with a crime or to be put through a media frenzy, have a job taken away from them potentially because of one person's singular word that's uncorroborated. There's no supporting evidence at all. No audio, no visual.
But there is plenty of evidence from Georgetown Prep, from alumni, that Brett Kavanaugh was a drinker. He was a partier. He was the captain of the basketball team. He was on the football team. This sort of fits his MO of going to this kind of party. But LSE denies this ever happened, that he ever went to any of these sort of parties.
David, as you know, the prisons of America filled with people who are there on the words of other people. That's really the basis of our criminal justice system, is witness testimony and victim testimony. Listen, here's the reality. If we had a proper investigation, we really could find out about this. What I don't understand is why the Republicans are so insistent that this thing not be properly investigated. Keep the FBI away. Don't give anybody any time. Rush it through the Senate. Let's find the facts. We don't know what they are yet, but let's find them. We have the power to do that. This is important stuff.
Absolutely. It is completely incorrect that that is the fundamental basis of our criminal justice system.
So let's get to that point right away. Impeachment is a constitutional right of the Congress. If the House of Representatives decides they want to impeach this guy, they're going to go for it. In terms of when it comes down to whether Rashida Tlaib should have talked about it or not, all politics are local. Obviously, the people in her district agree with her. That's why she's in Congress. And frankly, as a Democrat, I strongly support impeachment of Donald Trump. He's the enemy of the American people, and anyone who supports him is frankly an enemy of our democracy. End of story.
Wow, that's a really strong comment, Hamza, and a completely baseless, meritless, and kind of obnoxious one, since you're talking to a guy right now who's a supporter of Donald Trump. You seem to want to pick and choose.
And you're an enemy of the American people. No argument there. I've seen your movies. They're terrible all the way around. Really poor taste,
you seem to be a total clown to me who has no couth and no understanding of the Constitution. You want to pick and choose what you think is constitutional and what's not. You made this absurd comment that the Electoral College is something that's a technicality, and then you said impeachment is part of the Constitution. That's the only thing that you said right so far. You probably don't even know how impeachment works. That first the Congress has to impeach somebody, then the Senate has to convict them. You seem to want to hang people based on no evidence.
Apparently you don't know what Congress is, because the Congress is both
I do.
The House and the Senate.
I think I'm highly qualified to understand.
And hasn't delivered. So it is something that I think should be applauded, that he is going in the right direction. It just, I don't think we've seen him be able to pull it out.
Hold on a second here. The president has delivered on every single one of his promises, and he's attempted to. The Dreamers, you know, these are people that came here by no fault of their own, and it's a moral and just thing to allow them to stay. Now, when we're talking about here with the gun control, this is a well-thought-out process by the president quickly after a massacre has occurred. And I don't think he has any intention of really subterfuging any of our Second Amendment rights. And I don't think that the Democrats should be jumping all over this like that he's not delivering on his promises. It's one thing to say that he's being a little bit walking across the aisle, trying to console America in a time of crisis. But this man's delivered. He's going to get us the wall, and he's going to make sure our Second Amendment rights are fully protected.
Let me step in.
I can give a lot of reasons why not, starting with that there's a massive misconception that there is something illegal about Americans working with Russians in order to influence the election. There's nothing illegal about that unless they collude to commit a crime. There's nothing illegal about the Russian government itself trying to influence our elections, just like Americans and the American government try to influence other countries' elections. It's only if they collude to commit a crime. Now, here, we have no evidence whatsoever that there was any nexus or connection between what the Russian government did in allegedly hacking these computers and anybody in the United States. In fact, Rod Rosenstein said such. But let's get real here. Under these circumstances, this is a legal joke, Ford's case. It starts out as a he said, she said case, which is 50% possible that it's true.
Said.
Wait, yep, that's where it gets to. A they said, which makes it worse than a 50-50 case. The he said, she said is enough to not ruin somebody's career and their life. Wait, give me 1 second on this.
All right. It goes to a they said case, like Tal is just saying, because now you've got 4 people who refuse to corroborate her story. She has a retrieved memory versus a real memory. And then on top of it, she can't tell us when and where it happened. And the when thing is super important because it takes away his alibi. If she could have pinpointed when it happened, he could have pointed to his calendar and said, this is where I was on that specific day.
We got to look at the law first here. And the law tells us this. There's absolutely nothing illegal for Russians or people from any other country to be trying to influence our elections. There's also nothing illegal if American citizens joined Russians in trying to influence our election. It only becomes illegal is if they commit unlawful acts while trying to influence it, and that's what this indictment is about. It's about bank fraud, and it's about identity theft. And here's another news flash. The news flash is this. Is that countries from all across the world, dozens of them, are trying to influence our election, and Americans are trying to influence elections in all other countries that cross the globe. None of this stuff is unlawful. There's no such thing as the crime of collusion. And, you know, you look at all these Hollywood boneheads and pseudo-intellectuals and politico-liberal nuts, and they're all trying to tell us that there's some kind of laws that have been broken here just by colluding in something.
Right.
You know, really, what would you do that's so much better? What would you do that's so much better? You seem to have all these great ideas.
Keep your mouth.
You could do something better than Donald Trump on this because no other president's been able to.
Then you'd come home and you'd make sure and verify. You wouldn't make a stupid, useless video just to show off. I mean, it's just. It's
what you're saying is just words. We're going to verify. Of course we're going to try to verify. We're going to do everything possible to try to make sure that they're carrying out their promises. But you can't denigrate it. You should look at this positively.
But you don't
this
need
is a great step.
Hype.
You don't like Trump on other issues. Talk about that, fine.
You
but don't dump on this.
The hype. Don't hype. Come home and then verify. But why the stupid video? I've never seen a president do that after a meeting with another country. Never seen it.
What's wrong with doing a video to exemplify what's occurred? It's just delivering more information. I'm not saying that the special counsel or his staff are definitively doing something unlawful. What I'm saying is that I'm highly speculative because just because you have a right to investigate somebody doesn't mean that you could start surveilling them or executing warrants to obtain their documents. You need probable cause to do that. You have to have an articulable, reasonable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot and that what you are trying to take, meaning what you're trying to seize, will derive something criminal from it. And I haven't seen anything with reference to Trump that goes there. Now, we don't know everything. So maybe there is something there. But as far as I can tell, given where this investigation has gone, all roads are not leading back to Donald Trump.
Let's bring back in our dream team.
You got a great guy here in Kenneth, Vecchio, an incredible writer.
We'll get some answers to that from former Judge Kenneth Vecchio.
Joining me now, Judge Kenneth Vecchio, a former prosecutor.
As a former judge, if this case came in front of me, I would actually toss it. He's basically on career criminal status.
He's made over 15 acclaimed movies, written several novels and legal books.
Kenneth Vecchio founded one of the country's top film festivals.
He's an attorney who's tried over 400 cases, and the man's a former judge.
And oh, so intelligent.